I have a couple of people here. Do I have any from the team that I am reviewing? If you're from the team I'm reviewing, we're reviewing the blue team, top left. And if you're from the team, tell me in chat, so in case I have any questions about why you do stuff, I'll have the opportunity to ask you. Otherwise, I guess we just get to it. Just gonna find roughly where it starts, and we do that. Yeah, Hanju Wayne. Okay. It's a lot of sounds. Thank you for the follow, La Pussy. I think. Sorry for butchering your name, but still thank you.
What's up, man?
So, what we're talking about today is, as most VODs, we're talking about macro level stuff. Positioning, team comps, communication. First off, team comps. I'm assuming you will play this fairly aggressive, considering you have an Ana and a Sen, which means you can't really hold anything for that long. Sorry. You have a Genji, which means you kind of want to be the one that dives. And the Widow will probably not take the jewels versus the other Widow unless we have to. Because we don't have the rest, and they might do, might not, we don't know. The defensive positions, I don't know how much you guys can see. Do I get more pixels? I don't get any more pixels. We work with what we have. Initial positions, your Ana is playing... Oh, that's something. F, D, there. Ana's there, your Sen is playing inside here. Your Widow isn't immediately on what sidelines you are going to play. I assume you might not necessarily have the exact defense setup planned. Or you're kind of playing it just by ear. I guess we'll watch and see what happens.
Back off. Widow.
You call out the Widow, that's good. I'd like more specific location calls, but it's big old and I think your Widow has ice, so it's not that bad.
Back off.
That's a call to back off, that's to disengage from the room. Let me go. So yeah, Ana and your Sen is playing really far forward. It's a safe position by all means, but the value you provide isn't the same as you would if you played this highly risky over on catwalk. You're kind of limited to only healing what's here, what you can see up on top here. So a small bit. So by all means it could work. It depends on how your tanks know how to rotate and how you will keep going. Also, your Widow is taking a complete solo duel versus the enemy Widow somewhere. with no resources. And if we look at the enemy team, they have Mercy. Well, basically that's it. Their Widow can take the jewel, lose, and still try again. You can't. They are also attacking. So we're kind of posturing on top of the... just get colors away. Blue box, and this I call this island. So if you're confused why what I mean when I say island, that's this icon.
Diva.
Good counter dive, but where's our supports? No sightlines. There's a reason why you counter dive blue box when you're with your Ana on catwalk. Direct sightlines. Plenty of bubbles in the way, you're safe doing that.
That's good. I'm gonna res anything that you're going to keep because Messi's on top.
Should I get the Hanzo?
Otherwise, individually, micro stuff, you're doing nice. You're winning the jewels you want to. Getting kind of dizzy. Let's see. There's the dive towards the supports. This was I was looking to see. But never mind. What I'm looking to see now is how your supports react. And how your tanks react to this. Because in my head, playing both Ana and Sen in that room can work if everyone reacts properly.
We probably should focus on that. Widow's still top, Hanzo's top right.
Mercy's
With the Mercy.
Okay, you're giving callouts, that's good. It shouldn't be necessary to give extra callouts when you have post, because everyone should know in the beginning where people are. There shouldn't be a need to call more stuff when it's post. Of course it's good, because you get extra more information. But generally everyone should kind of know where all of the enemies are.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip.
So in the server room there's sleeping and Zen trying to kill me.
Okay, so the Ana's already hit the sleep. He's woken immediately. So this is what I'm looking for. Your supports are playing. I don't know if this is intentionally or not, but your supports are playing on the same side of the doorway. They dive in, and your tanks place themselves in the middle to directly block off anything. So again, I don't know if this is intentional, but this is what I would say correct reaction to the situation.
Sleeping and Zen trying to kill me.
Get the Zen! Get Zen!
Monkey.
Nice.
Biggie.
Hanzo's on
Hanzo
top.
top.
Mercy one.
What I would like to go back quickly and check is what is our Widow doing in the...
Monkey.
Okay, Widow's playing safe, that's good. No need to take this jewel now.
Nice.
Their Widow's providing no value, and there's no need for you to contest. We're going to do this later. Depending on how long this one takes, I'm planning to go roughly 45-50 minutes on this VOD, and in between I'll do a small theory thingy and the next VOD after that. So if we're done quickly, we might end up doing both maps.
Biggie.
Hanzo's on top.
Hanzo top.
Mercy one.
Mercy dead.
Nice.
Kill
You
even.
Alright, don't chase.
Where's Widow?
I
Nanoblade yet?
got Widow off.
You asked for IC since we're close again. I haven't really looked at it. I've done so much King of Tail lately that I just felt like doing something else. So we do city center, gardens, and university. Well, it's all 3 maps. Okay, we can do Oasis. So I'm just gonna finish off quickly to mention a few key points. Always call the widow. Always have someone designated to not necessarily dealing with the widow, but having something on her. Either by presence or actually physically on dealing with her. Could be a tank, could be counter mirror, could be the Genji. As long as someone's paying attention to the widow so she's not getting free sightlines. That's one of the most important things on this point. Okay, let's move to Oasis.
Our countdown dies as well.
On the other side.
I'm following you.
Team comps, we're playing pretty standard goats. No, dive. Jesus, my brain is... They are playing Pharah dive. Pharmacy dive. Only difference is we have Genji there, Pharah.
Get high ground.
Yeah, yeah. I'm following you.
You got a
Yeah,
Pharah.
far.
One, we should try to get a Tracer up high. Good.
This
And also a Sen.
There will send Mercy's down.
As soon as we have this, we need to make sure that Pharah is not being able to play freely. And to do that, we discard and put the Tracer in range.
Pull back, you ready?
Or send a Diva.
Sure.
3, 2, 1,
Discord on me. There will send Mercy's down.
You haven't set up to full back, you ready?
Yep. Send
I can't really hear what the call is.
Mercy's down.
You haven't set up to full back, you ready?
Sure.
3, 2, 1,
Zen Discord.
Okay, so the call was where the Sen was, and it was countdown. Personally, we can go back a
Following
bit. Let's
Good.
go down.
Far.
Monkey should be ready to jump any second now. His cooldown is just about ready now. In this time, there should have already been located a target and prepare the dive.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Monkey sees their main.
following you.
Diva sees where they are. We can call the pharmacy. Diva also spots the Sen isolating himself.
Discord on me.
And the dive could have happened pretty much
There
now.
will send Mercy's down.
You haven't set up to full back, you ready?
Sure.
3, 2,
So
1,
this takes roughly 5-6 seconds longer than...
Zen Discord.
And then,
I'm taking care of the backline.
What's the immediate
Discord,
follow after
Discord,
Sen?
and then,
I'm taking care of the backline. Monkey drop down. Monkey Lee.
There's no immediate target call after the Sen.
Monkey half. Monkey one. Monkey one.
Messi.
On the monkey. Monkey one. Monkey one.
Diva next.
Diva
Dead.
calls
Farah
that
next
she's
one, next one.
healing. That's good.
Farah top.
Nice.
On big hair pack.
Nice.
Okay, high ground.
So overall, no immediate follow-up after the initial call. And no... The setup takes too long. Apart from that, the dive was pretty clean. Tracer's playing fairly aggressive positionally to be able to help in dives with minimal mobility. It didn't track the
Monkey,
Genji that
monkey,
much, but I assume he's somewhere in the fight. And your Diva is paying attention to both front and backline and calling it, so...
Diva next.
Monkey dead.
Farah
Next one.
Farah top.
The only thing I would improve in this fight is mainly your
On big hair pack.
scouting.
Nice.
calling out enemies earlier and making the dive plan earlier. Don't make the plan when you have your jump available. You wanna jump when you can.
Nice.
Okay, Hydron again.
Yeah.
Very nice.
They got Tracer now.
You have
It's not
bottom.
that far.
Monkey left, far left.
So one, the scouting we're doing here, I wouldn't say this is highly efficient. We're standing and looking into this. This is pretty much all our attention focused into one. This is something that should be planned out in how we scout for next dives. Do Tracer need to be up here? Tracer could play down here. Can scout and prepare for dive through... Oh, that's an arrow. Can prepare for dive through that way. D.Va can play here. Or here. With Monkey on the other one. Say we play Winston here. D.Va there. Tracer. Sen is fine where he is. He can watch the door. And Genji will probably just sit and wait. So prepare positioning beforehand. Know who's going to scout what, and be ready to go at all times.
Monkey left, far left. For D.Va.
Alright, get ready.
Because right now, our Tracer's already started using blinks to put damage on the enemy team. And now first we start talking about what to dive.
We do the same shit again. 3, 2, 1, go! Zen. Actually, mercy.
D.Va 1, D.Va 1,
One, go! Zen. Actually, mercy.
D.Va 1, D.Va 1.
Yusan needs to call this out. Probably the best call here is just call that you're being dived and just accept that you're dead. You pretty much can't do anything right now. Otherwise, the switch of target can be confusing. So be more precise where the target you're switching to is. Mercy on Winston, Mercy to our right, Mercy in the doorway, somewhere. If you're switching targets like that, try to include a location so the DPS can quickly locate.
D.Va 1.
Where's
Kill
the
him
one?
in power.
They're on me in the back.
Yeah, gonna rest you
Chase,
in
they're
one.
Winston in the back. Yeah, it's okay.
The one. And then...
Who is stalling point?
Actually, mercy.
D.Va 1, D.Va 1, D.Va 1.
Where's
Kill him in power.
They're on me in the back.
Yeah, gonna rest you
Chase,
in
they're
one.
Winston in the back. Yeah, it's okay.
The one.
So immediately after the dive, again, the fight evolves into chaos. We don't follow up with continuously target calling new targets. We kind of just dive in and hope that we kill enough that we win the fight.
And then... Merciful.
Not called.
Oh,
Winston 1. Winston 1. D.Va. 1 D.Va.
We use
D.Va,
both
D.Va,
tank
D.Va.
ults.
Stagger.
Ooh,
She's one.
feels like justice.
Monkey.
Manky.
So I'm just gonna go back a bit and point out the fact that
Actually, mercy.
D.Va 1, D.Va 1, D.Va 1.
we called the
Kill him
Mercy.
in power.
They're on me in the back.
Yeah, gonna
We
rest you
did
in
not manage to kill the Mercy. We lost our Sen, we killed their mech, which was never the target in the first place. And after that, our D.Va is now looking this way, our Mercy is looking this. Tracer, Winston, our Sen is dead, where's our Genji? I don't see a Genji, but probably somewhere. A Genji's dead. Genji-san is dead. So just keep a bit of track of where we're
Winston in back.
looking.
Okay, let's go.
No one. And then
Winston and Genji are... Winston and Tracer on the same target. The Sen, we managed to kill him. Then the Winston leaps for something else. Diva is now focusing something this direction, I think. Winston is going this way. Tracer is fighting something over here. And Mercy has decided, oh shit, we're in trouble, let me ult so we can maybe win this. This is the time where you need a shot caller to call for stack up on Winston, or if you're playing Ghost especially, stack up on your main tank. If you're playing dive like this, you probably need someone to just like call a position where you want to just like sort of soft regroup and try to dive a new target to keep going.
Mercy low. Oh,
Winston 1. Winston 1.
We don't call any ults, we're
Diva,
using.
Diva. One Diva. Diva.
We're not tracking what ultimates they are using.
Ooh.
She's one.
We're not calling that we're eating barrage.
Feels like justice.
Monkey.
Monkey, 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 monkey.
Okay, find your target call. We
Monkey.
try to kill the monkey.
Monkey.
People are getting tired of calling a target.
Mercy low.
Finally kill the
Kill
target.
the Pharah.
We've called Mercy and Pharah.
Fair one. She got healed.
None of them dies.
You have res.
Yeah, I do, but it's kinda risky taking a rest here. Yeah.
Come back.
Just contest.
And we lose the fight.
That's fine.
We have a good bit of percentage, but this fight in its whole was a mess. Which we could have won.
We got 70. We just
I'm
regroup.
gonna die.
They're gonna be having barrage like, I think they have half. Let's say at least 50%. They surely have chance. They didn't use.
Is your Tracy jumping on jump pad without being spotted? One, that should never happen. And two, is it really a good position though? Are you going for a stick on the Pharah? Mercy? If you do and you do land it, then, and you can do that consistently, then okay. I'm not gonna critique you on it, but
Rampage are gonna have it for the next fight. And bomb. Yeah.
They're
I
gonna
mean,
camp out top.
you almost got lucky by the fact that she almost didn't have boosters to get a
No,
boost
Just
Just
on
left.
the bomb.
Just far left.
Look, grab watch. I want you to go under in a second. Alright, ready?
What did we just go?
Look, grab watch. I want you to go.
She gonna barrage. She just barraged the last fight. She might have a fair bit of ult, but she won't have it. And since we're just also talking about ultimates, why don't we just go through the rest of the enemy team? What else do they have? Do they have bomb? They haven't used it yet, and it's been a long fights. So probably. Do they have trans? Yeah, probably. Valk, they've used that one, so probably not yet. Bomb? Yeah, it's on a cooldown. Primal, again, long fight, probably.
Go under in a second.
How does that change how we fight?
Alright, ready?
I nearly got back.
Oh, you're half make, but.
I got back.
I'm gonna
What's
damage
the price?
you. Flex.
Let's push in for a bit until I look for opportunity. Stay put for now. Go for
Monkey,
the
monkey,
rest.
monkey.
Monkey.
Do we need to decide what we're going to
Monkey,
do?
monkey.
The monkey's going in, our diva turns,
Monkey.
and we're kind of, sort of, at least at Winston, I'm looking at
Stay
Winston
put for
now.
now. Go for
Monkey,
the
monkey,
rest.
monkey.
We're kind of just standing around,
Monkey.
not really doing anything. We should either take this opportunity to help with Winston, could dive back, or go forward to dive something on the enemy team.
Go for the mercy. Mercy.
Then used out.
They did get barrage again, so
Winston back.
might have been the correct call from the beginning.
Got the rest.
Alright, get Eva.
Okay, Jason back.
Winston one.
Target
Winston
calls.
Get the thing, forget about the Winston.
Ready res.
Alright, get Eva, get Eva, get Eva, get Eva.
Okay, chase it.
So apparently we're not quite aware that the fact that there's this in our backline. And we're chasing a full health diva.
One.
Tracer in the back. She's on Zen. There's still a chaser behind, guys.
D1.
Nice pick.
Ultimate recap. What did they use? What do they have?
Safe, play safe. You have no message.
I got back.
Get high ground, get high ground.
Yeah, get high ground.
What else are we gonna use in the next
They
fight?
use Trance, they use Barrage, they use the...
Okay, so it does come, but it's late.
You
Yeah,
got D.Va bomb.
Use
Don't
Tracer.
worry, I can get it.
Mercy ult.
I'll save my bubble for the bubble. A bomb.
I can bomb as well. I'll contest.
Contest, going. I'm just gonna wait for the bomb. A bit.
Back left.
Chase it behind.
Trance, they use Barrage, they use the...
You got D.Va bomb.
Use
Don't
Tracer.
worry, I can get it.
Mercy ult.
I'll save my bubble for the bubble. A bomb.
I can bomb as well. I'll contest.
Contest, going.
So this is more of what I'm looking for earlier. The fact that we're calling what ultimates they have and how do we deal with them. What's the plan of approach for the different kinds of ultimates they have and how do we deal with all the different situations that can arise from that. They have Bomb, okay, I'll need to save bubble. Do they have Barrage? No, they used it. Okay, so I can be more liberal with defense matrix. Valk, not really much to do, but you know you can't. You need to be careful about playing really stacked on people.
Chase it behind.
Monkey and shield.
Thanks in the back.
Devolvo.
I'm still contesting on point.
We get
Monkey on.
Cross.
Don't use ults.
Just go back.
The big concern. Yeah, we regroup, we got another fight and they use bomb, right?
Yeah, they use Diva bomb.
Did they use Rampage? Bomb from Chaser, stuff
They
like
probably
that.
got fire ult again.
Not
Oh
quite.
shit.
No worries.
So we're sort of doing the ultimate tracking, but when we first added, why not just hold tab, look at any team, go through the entire team. What do they have, what don't they have, and who are they most likely going to get in the next fight?
Okay, we're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Use Trance,
Let's go is not a plan.
of course, Chiefer, but to die, don't be conservative. So let's fight, guys.
Alright, maybe we can dive then fully back. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go for the then.
But to die.
Again, I'll just mention the fact that we're doing really slow approaches to the enemy team. The Pharah was roughly 70% before when you guys went spawn.
Use Trance, of course, Chiefer, but to die,
80,
don't
90,
be conservative. So let's fight, guys.
Alright, maybe we can dive
2 more rockets, 95,
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go for the then.
and she has barrage. Again, this comes down to having the dive plan. You guys can stand in spawn and plan out who you want to dive. And then you find out where that target is, and then you go for it. There's no reason to look at the enemy team. Oh yeah, they have a San. Let's dive the San.
Oh shit.
No worries.
Okay, we're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Use Trance, of course, Chiefer, but to die, don't be conservative. So let's fight, guys.
Alright, maybe we can dive then fully back. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go for the then. Full yellow. Nice, let's go.
I'm gonna rush in a bit.
Fire one.
Follow. Mercy. Oh fuck. That's false.
She
No call.
rest.
No calls on the rest. Do we even
Fire
have
one.
people left to help with it?
Mercy. Oh fuck. That's false.
No. Not really.
She rest. On the D.Va.
Okay, Pharah.
Fair. Need to get this.
So,
Get back.
Kaz fight was
Getting loose,
staggering.
Fair one.
We don't really have the comp to be able to stall much though.
I can touch.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Unlucky. I can't play Zen. This Tracer's
You
shit.
stick it far.
And just switch to Lucio.
Yeah, I know.
Just me stick it far.
Interesting.
That's the
So, quick recap. To me, it seems you have the advantage mechanically and individually. When it's a big chaos mess, you tend to win out if they are not coordinated. You lose because they are able to group up somewhat and push together on targets, and while you are just sort of running around looking for targets or fighting individual duels. You're really slow at approaching, and you don't have the plan set before you even get towards the point. You're sort of making the plan after walking into the choke. And most of this
Just go goats.
comes down to having a dedicated shot caller on your team that
Just go
practices
red.
doing shot calling and
Alright, can we get a on?
needs to really exercise
you can
that
feel it.
ability and get good at it.
Yeah.
Shot calling is not easy, but it's
play
definitely
Anagots,
something that's
okay. What do
needed
we
in a
play?
team.
I know Zengots.
No,
Play
go Zen.
Zen,
Go
go
Zen. Go play Zen. Play Zen. Hey, just watch out for this Tracer because she's gonna go down the back.
I will always be for you, don't worry.
Monkey on point.
We'll go
Okay,
mid.
we've decided we're having trouble with shot calling, target calling. Yeah, so I can sort of tell your target calling is better than your shot calling, but that as well, it's usually the first target, then it dies off. If you're interested, hit me up on Discord. I do have one thing that I'm planning to do with various teams that involve practicing communication. The first one is target calling mainly. It requires the full team to be there, and it takes roughly somewhere between 1 and 2 hours. I've already done a test run on a different team and it worked great, but I've not done it on stream, so there's no recording anywhere for you to look at. As for shot calling, I would recommend just deciding on who's going to do it and have that person practice it by doing it a lot. For every fight, even if you have to play something that's... We're still trying at main tank, so that's part of it. Yeah, so usually, right now at least, most teams have target caller on main tank and main support as shot caller. Some teams do both shot calling and target calling on main tank. I don't recommend it. It's a lot to take care of as one player. It can work, but you're putting a lot of reliability. If that person, let's just say like this, if that person has an off day, the entire team has an off day. But there should be, you should try to find someone else that's able to do shot calling. Usually it's the main support, and just practice it. If you have to play Masters team that plays on a lot lower tempo, so your shot caller has time to actually make the plans, stand outside the choke, stand in spawn, make the plans, and then roller try to do it. Do exactly as the shot caller says. Trust him blindly, and if it doesn't work out, you go back at the VOD and look at why it didn't work, and he can learn from that. Don't call it out mid-game, because that's really frustrating, trying to shot call with people critiquing you. Actually, now that I think about it, does this work? Yeah. This is meant for completely new teams. Most inclined towards probably below Masters team. As a rough guide on how to communicate. There's a section about shot calling and target calling there. You can look at that, it might help a bit. Okay, we're gonna get moving with the next part, next round. Is this one a stomp? Since you're playing 3 maps, I'm assuming you win, so... If this one is a stomp, we'll just skip the next one, because I probably won't be able to do all 3. I'm already over halfway through the time I planned for this VOD. In the meantime, goats, at this point you kind of should know what they have. That means we will play sidelines for the Pharah. We need to get Sen in a position to threaten the Pharah with Discord and also have D.Va close by to be able to finish. We don't really have any targets to dive on or push on other than the Sen, possibly. Apart from him, the rest is pretty much mostly just gonna play out of range. So first thing I would do here, my first call would be to swap to a Moira. If you're going to force goats versus this comp, get the Moira goats at least. Skip the Sen. You don't have anywhere near enough healing to be able to sustain this. What you rely on with this strat is that you wait for them to drop the point and then attack them. But if you don't have the healing output to be able to sustain through a couple of seconds with Pharah spam, then you're not going to survive long enough for them to even need to drop the point. They lost 2-1. Okay, we'll just do this one then and see how much we can get through. So yeah, they will maybe give you point initially, but the thing you need to think about is how much do you gain before they're able to overwhelm you. They should have enough damage output to be able to slowly kill the goat. What I don't get though is Bodyplate Tracer. I know Synoid is a hitscan 1 trick, but I thought he was able to play Widow. Or Ashe would be really good. Why they don't play Ashe is really weird. Anyways. So yeah. Have your Sen swap to Moira at least. You guys might do that, I don't know yet. Apart from that, I wouldn't go directly on the point here. I would find somewhere safer to wait. Always inside the thing there, not so safe. Play behind the pillar as much as possible. Just kind of spreading onto point just leaves the enemy Pharah just like free shots everywhere.
Push
Okay,
it in.
got
Gun is alone, dude.
a monkey.
But it's got
Mercy low, mercy low.
Come out.
Chase and recall.
Mercy 1, mercy 1.
Come out. Okay.
So you see what happens is they manage to
Okay,
slowly win damage and barge.
Forgot his gun here.
No, just stay. We can win this.
Nice.
Got it. It's just
Can
monkey.
get you down.
Get the monkey.
I'm nearly back, I'm nearly back.
The captain.
Keep me up, I'll have shatter soon.
I got booped. I got booped.
So you manage to regroup somewhat, but the same problem still applies. the more grouped up you have, the more damage the enemy Pharah does. The enemy Pharah might get 2 barrages in the first fight.
Monkey behind.
And most of this is damage you will struggle to
Monkey,
heal.
monkey.
Focus monkey, he's out of position, guys. Even if he's one,
It's a monkey, it's a monkey, it's a
Monkey
monkey.
dead.
I didn't hear anyone call the monkey use jump. That should have been the primary call there. The focus was on the monkey, but the call should have been monkey use jump. Because that should trigger just a bomb rush onto the enemy monkey.
Monkey dead. Over diva.
Focus diva.
Tracer behind.
Lucio, right low. Lucio one. Lucio dead.
Where's Lucio? Like, the only Rein and Sar was on the Lucio.
Mercy low.
Again, track cooldowns. Diva used flight. Diva should die.
Yeah.
Okay, really good.
Ah, lucky boys.
Diva's not being
You found
pushed.
Qs, but don't use any Q, okay? Don't use any Q.
So if you're going to play goats against this, you need to track cooldowns so hard. The only way to be able to kill stuff is to be able to catch them when they don't have mobility. And they make so many mistakes. The monkey jumps out onto a flat ground, the diva flies away and lands on the low ground. The Lucio is playing inside you. The Tracer is also playing super aggressive. The Pharah is hanging fairly low in the sky, but not much you can do except Diva could be able to kill her if you manage to get Discord and one hit with Sand or something like that. That needs to be called and just agreed on that, how you do it.
Just
Hey,
wait.
Brad.
But the main one is not calling tanks' movement abilities.
We have grab
We
bomb.
really need to just dive on one target.
Yeah.
We're trying to do too much.
Yeah, we do have to focus monkey when he jumps.
So the monkey has no jump isn't necessarily a target call. It's kind of more of a shot call and just an information call, but it should trigger like everyone just running the monkey. Everyone should understand why we call monkey no jump and what it means, that call, as that the fact that someone's called that. So this is sort of like everyone on the team needs to understand how you are going to play this comp into the enemy comp. And understand that if someone calls monkey no jump, that is the primary target no matter what, everyone run.
Jumps on us because he has nothing to jump back unless wasting rampage, you know? Even with rampage, if we...
Go last side, inside.
Yeah, so I agree with what's being said there, but the Winston won't jump on you. He's gonna drop into you and jump out. So you need to then track whether the jump lands. If the jump lands on the high ground, you probably won't be able to do anything about it. Depending on how low he is, Diva might be able to kill him by chasing.
Inside, go inside.
Gotcha.
Okay, grab bomb here, grab bomb. Nothing else.
Let's
Careful.
go. Do it.
One, you should try to just clear out the high ground.
Maybe close to another barrage.
Okay, I hit nothing.
Barrage hits nothing.
Nice.
Yeah.
We capped.
Focus monkey.
Good follow on the Pharaoh. So here you see, they can't fight you on low ground, you get a free cap. If they try to fight you, you win.
Focus monkey.
Monkey no jump.
They are looking for the long sustained fights.
Monkey one behind.
Preferably they should have done a better job at contesting the point a bit, but...
Monkey dead. Next one.
Just
Diva?
behind, but okay, focus Diva, guys. Focus Diva.
No information on Diva Bomb.
Got mercy. And plus one. Chase.
Chase.
On Diva.
No one called...
We sure we want to keep running this?
I'm on the Diva.
Diva no boost.
There's the call.
Just
Diva
come on.
D1.
Too low, I can't swing.
Everyone runs the Diva,
She's dead.
she dies. That's how you should play this.
Diva's dead. Nice.
Also, your Rein needs to call a bit for help sometimes. I know you play main tank and you like having it painful and you like being knocked around, but call for some healing at least.
On the Pharaoh. Pharaoh one.
For the monkey jump? No?
Die, you wanna die.
Monkey one, monkey one, monkey one, monkey one, monkey one, monkey one.
Okay, it's nice they're staggering you. It's nice they're staggering you because we got the point.
I got my back.
After our life last fight.
Another good thing about playing Moira instead of Sen here is that the Coalescence is really good for just shutting down the pharmacy. If the Pharah boosts up in there and you pop Coalescence on her, you either kill her or you force her so far away that she's not usable for a good time.
I'm there. Go inside.
There we go.
Big host.
Watch out for
Let's
Barrage.
get a Mirage.
Thank you for the host, Liam. Massive host. For new people joining us, we're doing a VOD review of a 4K plus team. We all came out to learn, teach us. We're looking at blue team, and so far in this round we're kind of struggling with how you deal with a dive comp that's playing spam into you. So to summarize what I've sort of already said is that the primary calls needs to be tanks movement abilities and always try to keep people on point so they need to contest you.
Just behind again.
She's
Nice,
there,
she's
she's there.
I don't have shield.
Phantom.
Let's see.
Monkey, 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 monkey.
Diva used boosters. Should have been called.
Monkey.
Diva bomb forces them down, and the Diva could have been a viable target right now.
Monkey, guys, monkey, he's out. He's one.
Further behind.
You see again, they're playing just jumping onto the high ground and stalling for time.
Go for the monkey, go for the monkey, go for the monkey.
There again, monkey no jump, he's on low ground,
D1, D1, D1,
Monkey.
D1, D1.
and we chase him and we actually managed to punish him. I didn't hear the call as clearly as I would like to hear it, but we do it.
They ulted.
Get far.
Nobody
Mercy
watched
one, Mercy one.
Mercy.
Focus on monkey in this.
Mercy still one,
Fighting inside tight rooms with goats is always fun,
Mercy still one.
Monkey.
but it's not so fun when it's against the Pharah as well on the outside.
Monkey pinned.
Got grab soon.
She's low. Monkey one. Monkey dead.
So again, we're missing a clear shot caller on after where this is sort of a shift in the fight where we move out from the room and start moving back onto the point. Now there should be someone that takes charge and makes the new objective, quote unquote. Where do we move? What do we target? What's our priorities?
Still boys.
Winnable.
Next one.
Nice.
Not sure I agree with that one either.
Lose your low.
Why don't we just use ults?
Where's the support?
Because no one's tracking ultimates and no one's actually doing any form of ultimate tracking and economy.
Parallel.
This was better when we looked at the earlier map, when you, during the map, at least started doing some ultimate tracking and planning out sort of what you wanted to do with the different ults.
Focus the diva, guys. Focus the diva. Everyone on diva. Everyone
Are we on
is on
Diva? Diva.
Diva has used boosters to get up and boop down.
Boot down. Diva boot down. She low.
She's one.
Diva no boosters. Nice. Kill me.
Diva no boosters. That's the call.
Pharaoh one.
Just a shame it only happens after the Diva's lost match.
Pharaoh one. Go Pharaoh.
Just in the recall.
Ball coming down. Kill ball. Kill Mercy.
Speak.
Point.
Listen
Yes.
point.
Be careful about the impact.
Okay, that's nice.
So, how do you set up?
Call the Pharah.
Again, you don't have defensive positions. At least I'm not. I'm assuming you
And the
don't.
Tracer when you see him, please.
Play top, split up, play top. So if Winston, oh, they have no Winston. They got goats too, guys. Same goats.
That means that they got no ult.
You're playing Sun vs Sun Goats. What's the primary objective in Sun vs Sun Goats? I have people watching me now, so I can actually ask questions and expect people to answer me. Okay. Primary is to get this Discord on the enemy Reinhardt, and as soon as he has, we need to start pressuring at them. If they bubble, we fall back. And then once the bubble wears off, we bubble our Reinhardt to cleanse any Discord we have, and try to get a new Discord on their Reinhardt to push back in. There's multiple ways this fight plays out, but that's the general idea. You need to track your bubbles and your Discords closely. Also, thank you for the follow, Wako. I didn't catch it. Thank you.
Keep focusing the red shield.
Rain is good, Rain is
On
good.
the right, right.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Zara, DV.
Okay, rest.
Nice.
Next one.
Let me go back and see what actually happened now.
That means that they got no ult.
Keep
We have Discord on the Rein.
focusing the red
I-
shield.
Don't see what happens. The enemy Rein is Discord and we beat.
Rain is good, Rain is
On
good.
the right, right.
Oh,
So they never cleanse the bubble. Switch Zarya to Kree here.
Tracer when you see
When was this? This was... I assume you swapped earlier because of the Pharah stuff.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
So in that case, your Reinhardt just needs to be really careful about... If he gets Discord, he's not going to get rid of it unless it breaks line of sight. 3 seconds. Yeah. So what you can do is you can play double stun sort of setup. You wait for the enemy Reinhardt to push in. You throw the nade above his shield and you stun him with the Brig after the chain stuns. That's one of the combos you can do. Of course, you need to be careful about the bubble though, that's like the big one. So again, you need to track the bubbles, but you also need to set up for the stun. So what you can do here, just a short example, you put your Reinhardt up here, you put your McCree, that's a cowboy, he's close by, your Brig always plays behind your Rein. You put your Diva close by. So I wouldn't personally push back into them because they have the bubble and they will, in a really short-term fight, they will win. If you kite and neutralize the fact that they have bubble by just kiting their bubbles, the fact that they have bubbles doesn't matter. So just as a short example of what you can do, you put the Rein up, and as soon as they start pushing, you just kite backwards with speed amp, and the McCree stands ready and you sort of ambush them. That's one setup. But yeah, the basic idea, at least in my head, is to wait for their bubbles and either push onto them when they don't have bubbles, or just kite them in.
Zara, DV.
Okay, rest.
Nice.
Next one.
Nice.
Good job.
Don't push the fire.
Okay, we got Shatter and Bomb. We can bomb shatter this. Oh no,
Monkey
bomb.
again.
Okay,
I'm through.
what tools do they have?
Shatter and Rally.
I'm not gonna touch.
Nice.
Okay, nice.
Perfect. Whatever. But yeah, you do sometimes talk about ultimates and how to use them, which ones to use. I still lack a lot of ultimate tracking on the enemy team. Your shot calling is missing. Now, do you think the Kris was a good choice? I don't disagree entirely. In my head, so I personally think just about any team comp can work. It all depends on how you play it and what the strengths and weaknesses of that comp is. So, as long as you play into the strengths of your team comp and try to fight their weaknesses, you will have a better fight. So, the only times you really don't want to stay on your comp is when your strengths are countered by their strengths and your weaknesses are countered by also their strengths. So, for example, there's been I've seen cases in Open Division where people run Orisa, Sim, Bastion, and it works. It's all about playing into the strength of the comp and how you play it. This is to me also what separates the best teams at the top level is so one team might be able to play a single comp, and just by the fact that they know that comp so well, they can play any other comp. That was sort of the start of GOATS. They were able to play that comp so well that they didn't have any trouble against any other comps. And eventually, people realized what they were doing. Then they started improving that comp even more, and it sort of just spiraled out of control. And now we have what we have today. At least we're starting to counter GOATS now, and it's not this extreme anymore. So yeah, I've now talked roughly 50 minutes on your words, so I'm gonna do a swap over to the next word, and we'll carry on from there. So, quick 2-minute break while I fetch something to drink, and we'll be right back. Okay, we back. So, before we keep going, I have one thing that I'm planning to do as a start for. I'm planning to do this on different streams. So let me just do this real quick. I'm planning to do a quick run through different maps and points in Overwatch and discuss various strengths and weaknesses about certain points. So if you're in chat now and you wanna influence what map I choose, if you go to the poll linked in chat now and pick one, it's still tied in the top, so I still haven't decided fully which one we'll get. We'll do a roughly 5 to 10 minutes of this. So I'm gonna give it. No one's voting. I'm not even sure. Do I have people watching? I'm gonna give it a few more seconds and then I'm just gonna pick one myself then. Okay. It's a tie between pretty much almost all of the options. So what I'll do is I'll probably look at Lijiang, as that's a fairly standard one and should be easy to sort of illustrate what I'm planning to do with this kind of talk.
Now
So this section will be mostly for teams to understand how maps work and how different team comps will work on maps. Let me quickly. So the first map in this series of Strat Talk will be Lijiang Gardens. So the first thing I will do when I'm looking at maps to see what's the strengths of a map and what comps will work, what heroes will be good, how you should play maps, is that I will look at the characteristics of the map. Oh Jesus, that's a thing. Sorry about that. I need to do that. Now I should be able to draw. So in this map you have these pits. These are usually something once you bother with. It's in roughly 5 minutes. I'm gonna do a quick map theory stuff first. Just going to quickly go through how I analyze maps and how, for example, this map, how I would attack this map. So, quick, find out the distinctive traits of the maps. One is environmental possibility hazards. This pit is one huge. You have everything outside here, out there, the pit, and so on. We can look at another one, is how to approach the point. You have 1 and 2. So there's only 2 ways to approach the point. That means you don't have to split your attention too much. There's also a possible way to approach the point by going over, but 2 main ways of attacking. Another characteristic about this map is the skybox. It goes super high. That might influence your hero choices a bit. Do I get more colors? I do. The point in itself has the pillar in the middle and the walls. So it's fairly, there's a lot of cover on point. And I would say that pretty much defines the most characteristic traits of this map. So let's do 2 different comps that I would say will work fairly well on this map. One is by just running fairly deathball goats comp. If you play that sort of style, you want to avoid having to cross the bridges because of the pits. So you want to go through here instead. What you need to look for is any potential long range damage that can hit you on all the sight lines, window, the gaps here. That's what you need to watch for when you're playing that comp. Another comp that can work is playing a Pharah comp where you abuse the skybox, flying high up in the air. You could pair that with a Widowmaker to use some of the really long sight lines you have on this map. There's quite a few long sight lines on this map. And to couple that, I would usually go with mobile tanks, so you don't have to hold any position, but you can move around as needed. Take different positions, take new sight lines, cover different areas. If you're playing this sort of comp, you need to scout early, have information where they come, pre-position your DPS, have damage on them as early as possible, deny the sight lines before they're able to cross them. So I think that will be it for this one. We'll do a new map / point on the next stream. Okay. That's that. Oh, there's Guts. Hi, Guts. Long time no see. So I have Double and I have Guts. Double, are you playing? Is that you, Wyoming? I just want to see how many and who I have. How you doing, play? Thank you for the follow, Guts. You're the manager, okay. Little moment is there. Okay. We have at least some people, so if this is just in case I have questions about how you guys set up stuff, or if there's a specific reason for why you guys do certain stuff, I have the option to ask you. If there's any specific map you want me to look at, say so now, otherwise I'm just gonna quickly scan through and see what I have to pick from. Lijiang, Numbani, Rialto, Morialto, all the way. And a few others. Yeah, that's fine. Lijiang. Okay.
I think it's gold now, because I played like 5 hours in a row, have 100% win rate.
Lijiang. Crack it.
Oh no, I wanted to do that basketball.
Let's go straight to point.
Well,
Do
let's
I get
do
more
that.
pixels than this? Yes, I do. Nice.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't look like the bitrate is there.
Silk, are you gonna play Diva? Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But I'd like to see the others. We'll see how long I still have a voice.
Especially to feed the Zarya, it's quite good, I like it.
Most likely after one map we probably would have gone at least 1 hour, and my voice usually dies at that point.
Makes for free losses, dude.
This is gonna be like ranked. Let's just lose, guys.
First up is what's the approach? Where do we approach the enemy? And this was the first ever scam. Okay, I'm gonna be not so harsh on certain things. First off, decide where you want to approach the point. Make sure you have everyone with you. Lucio, this one is to you. I think you just left pretty much your whole team.
Makes for 3 losses, dude. I need it.
Thank you for the follow, Kraken. You have all 5 in your aura. 5,
This is gonna
5,
be like
4.
ranked.
You've left
Let's
1.
just lose, guys.
You left the
We're trying
rest.
to score the.
Bubble me.
Yeah.
They have May, be careful for wall.
Right, the Ryan's this. No team.
So, using bubbles before you know what they have. I'd be careful about even approaching them before you know what they have. As you don't know if they are playing aggressive or passive. They all might also be playing like the opportunistic style where they just wait for something and then they rush. So
Let's just lose, guys.
first off is approach the point. Second is scouting the comp, and then deciding if you want a aggressive or passive approach.
I'm gonna try to score the.
Bubble me.
Yeah.
They have May, be careful for wall.
Right, the Ryan's this. No team
Ryan.
bubble.
Yeah.
So we've identified the May. We've also called they have no bubble.
Ryan,
Most of these are good calls,
Push this run.
but we're playing really split and we have no some form of grouping behind our Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Ryan,
just
Ryan,
go.
Ryan,
You
Ryan,
guys
Ryan,
have the wall. You guys have the wall.
Push this run. Careful. I got boots.
I have you, big.
You got no team bubble again.
No, I
Ryan,
don't have
put
bubble. I
Ryan
don't
down.
have bubble.
Ryan's dead. You're
Let's go,
fighting
go,
fight.
go.
Again, instead of having to ask for when bubble is ready, always call. If you see your Reinhardt pushing in, call your bubble is on 3, 4, 5, X amount of seconds.
You got no team bubble again.
No, I don't
Ryan,
have
put
bubble. I
Ryan
don't
down.
have bubble.
Ryan's dead. You're
Let's
fighting.
You've traded Reinhardt,
Break health. Break health.
more tanks.
Right.
Break low, break low. Yeah, we can't point.
but we're sort of playing into the May. We're not either pushing or pulling back. We're just standing in a position where the May is able to wall us as we wish.
Oh my god. Okay.
Gold targets. Gold targets.
And this sort of comes down to the shot caller. As long as the Reinhardt isn't calling for a specific target, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just going to assume that you're doing the standard main support shot caller and main tank target caller. As long as the target caller isn't actively pursuing something and pushing for something, the shot caller needs to decide movement in this kind of. If you're going to do that, you need to have everyone with you, and you need to have bubbles ready to unfreeze you if you start to get frozen.
Break is one. Break one.
Brigade one. Keep your shield up on there.
No, come back, come
We're
back. Come back.
trapped.
Spinning you back. Coming.
Catch you soon.
So just a comment, it feels slightly Reddit, this Lucio. We're not necessarily playing for the team all the time.
Oh, yeah, I have that.
Right, well,
Yeah,
gonna-
grab him.
All tracking.
Push out for the wall.
Yeah, watch out for what just
Ryan just
passed.
scored it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, brilliant.
All tracking, and again approach, where do we push? The approach falls to main tank to call. Unless the shot caller has a specific idea of what he wants to do in the next fight.
Oh, got him.
Why is it only me or like?
Post.
I'm gonna try and eat the male here when they grow. You should still transfer.
No.
Nah, I'm ready.
I thought they asked.
Okay.
I was
No.
Okay, give me 2
God.
seconds, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Keep pushing, okay? Because they're gonna try and Maywall you. Okay, you should push now. You should push now.
I'm rear shooting shield real quick.
Did we check someone in spawn to see if they were okay?
Shield real quick.
I have Grav.
Pressure Ryan.
Ryan just go.
We've called that we have Grav. What do we want to achieve with it? That's for the shot caller again. To decide.
I'm looking for
I
shatter.
have bubble for you.
No bubble.
Oh wow.
Back up, back up, back up.
I can grab. If
Yeah.
you guys.
I have bomb. I have bomb.
You
Yeah,
want to go?
ready?
Go. 4 people in.
Pinning. I can't pin. Frozen.
Go the Ryan.
Yeah, I got you.
Winnable. May.
Help you, Ryan. Help you, Ryan.
Okay. So if we just go back to before the fight starts.
Pressure Ryan.
If we have an idea of what they have, and also what resources we will get in the next fight, what rating are these teams? I think this is somewhere 4K. I don't know the specifics on that. I know Guts is somewhere in 4K. 4244, okay. So, again, approaching into the fight, we need to have a clear idea of what do we have, what do they have, what do we respond to theirs with, and how do we then push on. If we know they have Grav, we're okay, we go, okay, they have Grav, we'll beat it, we also have Grav, we use Grav on them. They have Mayult, okay, we try to just speed out of it. There's different counterplays you can make to every single play they can make. What you need to do is identify all the plays they will try to make and have counterplans ready for it. I think, if I'm not wrong, if you go look up this link, there I did mention this in the shot calling section. This is a shot guide for not necessarily 4.2, 4.4 teams. This is for completely new teams, that players that might never have played in a team before. So most of the stuff in there you probably won't need, but there are some things in terms of shot calling that I see quite a lot of GM teams still don't get.
Ryan just go.
I'm looking for shatter.
I have bubble for you.
Again, I don't know if you called you're looking for Shadow, if that he's looking for Shadow. If I don't get it, and this is the first scrim, the rest of your team probably doesn't get it either.
No bubble.
Oh wow.
I'd highly consider beating this.
Back up.
I can grab. If
Yeah.
you guys.
I have bomb. I have bomb.
You
Yeah,
want to go?
ready?
We call for Grav, and we also have call for Bomb.
Go. 4 people in.
Pinning. I can't.
Considering that we've called for Bomb and Grav, I kind of wouldn't disagree with not using beat here. If we didn't have a fully clear plan for how to exactly follow up the Grav, I would have beat it here to let people survive and then try to fight on after. But the fact that we already called Bomb Grav should be a almost wipe.
Winnable. May.
Help you, Ryan.
On me.
Right behind you, Ryan.
Fully charged.
But the realization is that the beat is way too late and into a lost fight.
I'm dead. Yeah. We should probably go drop like the Diva and go May. I don't know.
Yeah, you can.
So now playing Maygoats into Maygoats.
We can wall here and.
Yeah, she left and right.
So usually the team that, if you're just fighting straight front versus front, the team that manages to ward off the enemy May usually wins. So you need to look to split the Reinhardt and the May.
See her.
Do you guys want to go left for like 2 seconds and come back? Oh, okay.
Come left.
This is also a really good use of the wall.
Still
What you need to be careful about now is that yours is on a cooldown and theirs not.
Watch out for shatter. This place will build their trance. Nice wall. On Ryan.
Good use of wall. But again, we have no follow-up for what we do after or what targets to approach on. We're sort of just standing there taking it and trying to play defensively into an offensive push. We're reacting to what they do without trying to be the initiators into the fight.
It's fine, reset.
We'll have one more push.
They're gonna have Neil, still have Shatter.
Can someone touch?
I can go.
Yeah, you should probably.
I want to go. I want to go. Oh, yeah.
Well,
It's
the
fine,
point
you can
is
use
all
it,
the
bring
close
it
back
forward.
wall. Let's go, go, go.
I didn't quite catch who's calling that I'm going to touch, but I'm hoping it's Delisio.
Use rallies soon as
Yeah,
we
Shadow.
get it.
He
Yeah.
Rain on the left. Rain on the left.
Logs,
Nice.
push up, push
Good
up.
block.
On Ryan, on Ryan. Pending Ryan. Ryan, pin, Ryan, pin.
Bubbled you. I bubbled you.
Yeah, push up, push the point.
There. The bubble. Sorry.
Again, there's no target calling from the start of the fight. Well, okay, so let me correct myself a bit. There is target calling, but there's no target focus. We do call target from time to time, but we are not fighting the same target at the same time.
Wyoming. Oh my god. Diamond Lucio. Didn't want V6.
I touched, dude.
It's fine.
Okay, let's move on to next.
Listen,
Do you want to play that?
this play.
This is the comp. Playing Farash Dive, yeah, with Mercy Ana. So I see more and more of Mercy Ana comps, and personally, from a theoretical standpoint, I think they can work, especially short term, but I think it will struggle in ult economy long term. You do lack. I could just like say, yeah, you like, defense ultimates. Done. Like, the problem is that as long as they realizes that you don't have an defensive ultimates, they will play around that. What you do have that makes up for it is high potential for being really aggressive. You have an anti-nade, which can really destroy teams. You have damage boost, which with neither the dynamite or with just straight onto the Pharah deals a lot of damage. You have sleep darts, which is in theory infinite range CC. Just have to hit it. Lol. So the potential in playing Ana Mercy is quite strong, but you need to play it for aggressive. Hi, Star. If you don't play it aggressive and try to play passive with this, even if you build ultimates, you will lose out in ultimate economy over time, because they have a more balanced setup. You're pursuing the extreme of offensive and aggressive comps with this.
This play is slow, spam tanks. We build the barrage, then we go on the barrage. Yeah,
Wait,
there it
guys.
is.
Did we play point or did we...
So play slow, build ults. I don't entirely disagree, but you need to be the aggressors into the fight when it first happens. You can play opportunistic and wait for the opportunity to do something, but you can't just sit there and wait for them to push you.
No. Play outside. We wanna get barrage.
Your team needs to be the one that sets up the fight and does the initiation.
Alright.
Just try not to take spam tanks.
So first of what I usually tell teams that run this comp to do is try to let Mercy do the primary, at least in the first fight, especially in the first fight. You need to let your Mercy do the most of the healing and use that time for the Ana to try to get an angle to get a big nade off. Because you don't have a lot of tools apart from the nade in the first fight. So if you can land a big nade that antis 4 enemies and try to dive, on that, hit the dynamite, have your damage boosted Mercy, damage boosted Pharah also shooting into this, and then you swap your Ana over to healing. So Mercy is healing Ana's utility to begin with, and once the anti hits, Ana goes healing and Mercy goes utility. One example, you could go coast here, just sneak up on them and go through the side door.
You got no boosters? You behind point?
D.Va self.
Did that nade hit anything? It is a Zarya, which can cleanse.
Go Zen if you go in, maybe.
No, no. Pocket me, Ana.
And that was probably the one real opportunity you had to push this before they capped.
Zarya no bubble, Zarya no bubble.
Zen left side, Zen Lucian left side behind point.
Line outside.
D.Va no boosters, she's self. As soon as
Otherwise, I would like to hear your Ashe call out all the dynamite so the Mercy can damage boost it. It builds ult quickly, and Bob is one of the strongest one you have for disrupting the Goats team right now.
Barrage, yeah, that's good.
A lot of people in lower ranked say that Bob is way OP, and as you go higher in rank, you meet players that say Bob isn't really that good. But in my opinion, is that if you use Bob correctly, he can provide a lot of value into a fight.
Okay, almost there.
D.Va's on fire.
Again, we almost have a new anti. We should set it up.
Big barrage ready.
Okay, I'll matrix your barrage.
Okay, we have Barrage. They already have 20 something points.
Go in, I have Bob, I have Bob, I
Ready?
have Bob.
3, 2, 1.
So we're playing into the old just spam until we have Barrage, which works on some maps, not so much this one, more Nepal Village. What's important is that you get damage onto their tanks or their core the entire time to build Barrage quick enough. With this comp we have now, there are different ways of engaging onto a fight. We don't need to build Barrage.
Let's go.
Nice. Don't use any more, don't use any more.
Again, anti doesn't hit.
Me too.
D.Va
we
1,
shall
D.Va 1,
tanks?
D.Va 1, D.Va 1.
With the pure amount of passive, not passive, area of effect healing they have, Inspire, Lucio Amp, being able to chip down targets only works if you have concentrated fire, and with just like shields, defense matrix, bubbles, that is a bit difficult. You can try to play long term and just slowly just bleed out all their resources, but being able to anti them is a way easier way to get value.
Ryan.
Jesus, making sentences is difficult.
Ryan half. Line's one.
I'm with you right now. Zarya.
Again, another nade doesn't get value.
Lucian
Good sleep,
Use purple.
but do we actually have anything to fight this with?
Zen
No.
1, Zen 1, Zen 1.
Was bomb called?
Zarya.
I said trans.
Lucian 1. Fuck, use purple.
Nope. So why do we bump into a lost fight or
Zen 1.
losing fight?
You guys can win this. It's fine, reset.
Do we switch to goats?
Yeah. If you switch.
Again, what you could have done the next fight is bomb on towards the back of the point, and then you have 3 nades onto the Reinhardt. Having fun with the emote star.
There's
Way
normally
to lose as
only
well,
one.
come here.
Okay, so we're swapping to goats, I assume. We're going Sand goats.
I should probably should have Bob before.
They're also playing Sand goats. This is a mirror matchup. It's fine. Just spam all the emotes you want. I don't care. Basic of Sand goats, bubbles, discords, etc. etc. We've been through this now for months.
SP Speed through together.
I think Ryan's going for like a...
Yeah, he's looking for shadow.
Be careful about
Pressure Ryan.
using amp
Kite
too
back,
early.
Kite the rally. Come back.
It is with Zen Goats one of the biggest amounts of healing you have.
Logs.
Nice.
Have no bubble. Let's bubble me.
Don't see bubble. Ryan just scored. Ryan just scored. Go on, Ryan, push.
We have this on the Reinhardt, that's good. And the call that the Rein is discarded is there, and that's one of the most important calls you can have. Did we track their bubbles properly?
Pressure Ryan. Kite it back. Kite the right.
I think...
Big abuse of hands.
What I'm looking for is, did we track the fact that they used the bubble so they can't cleanse the discard?
I think Ryan's going for like a...
Yeah, he's looking for shatter. Pressure Ryan. Kite it back. Kite the rally. Come back.
I don't see it being used, and I don't hear it being called.
Nice.
There it is.
No bubble. Let's bubble.
Okay, it's been called as well, good.
Ryan just scored.
It needs to be clearer. That needs to be the two dominant calls. Needs to be discord and bubbles. That needs to be the most clear in comms that everyone should catch.
Go on, Ryan.
Even if you're occupied with something else.
Ryan's one.
David's behind, David's behind.
It's winnable. I'm good. I'm good.
Otherwise, I'd say the push onto the Rein was pretty good. They have ults, you don't. You try to fight into them without playing goats, and now you're trying to swap to goats while they already have ults. Swapping into goats mid-map when they already have played goats for a while is always dangerous. They will have ults, and if you're unlucky, they will just stagger ults and take the entire map.
It's fine, guys. Like, it's our first game together. It's...
So, ult tracking again. Don't care about that, it's the first game. They used Grav, they used Bomb. They have the next big one for them is Shatter. They also probably have more ult, but the big one is Shatter, so you need to play around that.
I guess
They
it's
just
fine.
steamroll. They just steamroll the ultimates. That's like,
Yeah.
that what happens.
Okay, so the game was over, that's why.
I wanted to
Never mind then.
With spam comp.
Guys, diamond gold damage. What the fuck? I'm joking. Thanks. Oh yes, no, I'm actually bronze. Insane.
Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Shatter did go out. That's right. I remember. And the fight was over, so there's no need to call it, so I guess that's fine. Best team comp EU. If nothing else, you have the opportunity to make it something happen. I don't think I've seen anyone else run this comp and play it really well. You have a lot of dive potential, that's for sure. You don't have any backline that needs defending. Your Lucio is probably gonna feel pretty useless most of the time. But I guess he can just like sort of stay around and heal tanks and heal amp when on cooldown, basically. Otherwise, this is going to need to be played fairly. You need to be careful about playing this. You need to have the exact information that needs to be scouting, and your hammer needs to be in positions where you can actually pull off dives. A lot of this comes down to your Hammond being able to execute a dive.
Why you come with me, okay? We have this. Like in ranks, okay? Oh, they're far. Oh, they're running.
Let's
down.
control bridge. Control bridge.
Oh yeah.
Come on, Lucio.
Have to play, yeah.
Monkey. Just control the bridge. Keep spamming tanks.
So again, a slight hint of Reddit in this one.
They're far.
The problem is that
Let's control bridge. Control bridge.
if they had been more aggressive, if they knew you had dive, they could have already claimed the entire courtyard before you got there.
Come on, Lucio.
Have to play, yeah.
Monkey, monkey. Just control the bridge. Keep spamming tanks.
Otherwise,
Monkey, monkey,
I'm
monkey.
still not tanks right now.
you've seen they have a Widowmaker.
Monkey, 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 no jump.
So the Widow is dead, but someone needs to be on Widowmaker duty.
Lucio.
Always call out the Widowmaker's positioning and try to have a plan for dealing with her.
You don't let them through bridge. They have
McCree
McCree now.
now.
It's gonna be even easier, dude.
Okay. Set up for defense. Hamster needs to be in a position where he can dive any position, basically, or reposition quick enough to be able to dive. And there needs to be scouting. Hammond can scout himself by looking around walls. Otherwise, the Pharah is on scouting duty, but against the Widowmaker, it's risky.
The McCree's main.
No. Yeah, they're main.
Apart from that, I'm slightly worried the fact that you Mercy have to drop down and heal tanks this much. Because your Pharah is playing solo most of the time.
McCree's really low. We still have Mercy.
Svalk aggressively when we get it.
Yeah.
To,
Monkey point.
Okay, going on him. Monkey weak. Monkey one, monkey one.
Keep up,
I can't see.
Go main, go main, go main.
Again, diving onto a sort of the same as we talked about with the earlier VOD, the different team. Diving onto a dive tank that has mobility usually doesn't work out. He usually just bails out.
Spark main.
the McCree, go for the McCree.
I'm weak
McCree
on
no
main.
flash, McCree no flash.
There's six of them. There's six of them. You can't draw it.
So you need to track cooldowns and look for opportunities to dive.
Point, give out one.
Sabermetrics barrage.
Give out.
Where is the fire? Does anyone see it?
Monkey, monkey, monkey.
There's no fire, there's no more fire.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
Monkey
right.
F, monkey F. I have Primal, keep me
I
up.
can barrage.
Yeah, I'm ready. I can follow you up. I'll bubble down
Zeno.
McCree.
Okay, I
Zoning
force
McCree.
Lucio eat.
Break one.
Again, we're not. So, I think we've pretty much nailed most of what we have to talk about there. Like, we can look at more stuff, but it's at this point it's just micro mistakes and individual mistakes. What we're looking at is a team that lacks a shot caller, it lacks a clear target call, it lacks target focus, and the first thing I would fix is to get a shot caller in. Decide on a single person that's going to shot call, start practicing it. It's not easy to target to shot call, but it's entirely necessary if you're going to play at this level. If you have any plans to push for even top 32 in Open Division, you need to have a solid shot caller. And you need to have plans in place before you engage onto the fight. You need to have ultimate tracking, what they have, what you have, how you respond to stuff. This was also some dimension in the Google Docs I linked earlier. So I think as soon as you get that in place, the entire team will have an easier time to play because everyone doesn't have to put all their attention on the entire enemy team. Everyone will sort of have their set role on what they will do, where to look, and as soon as you start setting up strats for maps, positioning, talking about who's watching what sight line, how do you rotate different in recording to what the enemy team has, then it starts to get easier to play because you don't have to think about what you're supposed to do because the plan is already there. It's also going to make it easier for the shot caller because he doesn't have to invent the new strat every single point you play. So we'll just keep the video playing, commenting over some stuff, and
He's half.
once this map is over, I think we'll call it.
Nice. And monkey, burn monkey on point.
Monkey's
Monkey
getting
out.
moved again and again.
Monkey.
He's one, don't let him escape. Chase. Nice.
I have bomb.
When they
Oh man,
push
can you
here,
power draft the bomb, please? I'll tell you when to go.
Yeah,
to bomb.
okay.
yeah, we can
Okay, we've called for pile drive combo with bump. That's good.
Tell me when you're gonna bomb.
Okay, everyone break bubble when it happens.
They're coming.
Just go in a
bridge.
power drive now.
Okay.
Fuck's sake. That's my fault, sorry.
Backing off.
They're going to
Back.
point soon.
So
Take some away damage.
I can't.
Dry fight, dry fight. Just
Stack
full
mercy.
shots, dry fight.
we pile drive into nothing because we got baited by the diva, and we lose a
Back in
Hammond,
Hammond.
and are forced to
I have mine.
dry fight.
One monkey.
So again, the shot caller should, in this case, immediately look at the situation. Look, is it necessary to dry fight? Is there some way we can win this? Do we have a win condition here? So he needs to look at the win condition and see how it's possible to turn this fight. It might not be, but there needs to be someone that takes the responsibility to look at the overall situation and decide, do we have any ultimates that we could possibly turn the fight with? Do they have anything that we need to watch out for? And so on and so forth.
Is that no point? Is that no point?
Because otherwise, right now, we're just stalling at 99%.
Try and boot.
Both runs?
They trans.
And the only thing we need to look at now is forcing ultimates from them and potentially building our own.
Fine, fine,
good.
fine.
We,
Get your
Look
ult.
on your- look on
If
your
you have
vessel.
ult, die.
yeah, good call, good call.
That's why now I have primal next fight. What
Goes to
beats
the right
them? You guys wanna go monkey goats? Close?
Me personally, I would probably just run straight goats.
Do you?
Yeah, we should go monkey goats. We can just run over them and go for McCree.
But yeah, primal.
We have
How much do they have? Okay, they've just got. I would, yeah, you could run one fight with monkey and then swap Reinhardt if the primal doesn't work.
That's fine.
We have barrage. We
Go
have
for it.
matrix them.
That's fine. You guys wanna go left
We
or
go
right?
left? Yeah, go left, go left, go left. Go left.
Bait them to point, and we go for barrage and bubble. Bubble power. This one.
Bubble first, then I'll matrix. Okay.
I'm not gonna
Let's
die.
go. Monkey here.
Coming in, coming in.
So we call that we want to barrage here.
Bubble you?
Break is weak. Can we rest?
That felt fairly chaotic.
Bait them to point, and we go for barrage and bubble. Bubble.
Bait them to point and we barrage. I don't disagree with that plan. What I do disagree with is how we execute the barrage.
I'm not gonna
Let's
die.
go. Monkey here.
Coming in, coming in.
We can go for it.
What I would rather do is bait them to fight sort of in this area, and then just have the Pharah drop straight down and barrage there, and defense matrix and bubbler. There's a higher risk you will die, but doing this will probably not give you anything at all.
I bubbled you?
Otherwise, we start investing a lot of ultimates into fight we haven't fully
Break is weak.
agreed that we're going to win.
Can we rest?
I'm
Yes,
gonna bomb
waiting.
this.
I can
Monkey,
try.
monkey, burn monkey behind.
Actually, maybe not.
Monkey weak.
There's no way I'm getting arrows.
Don't try one. Don't try one. Just
Reset.
die.
Come back.
Okay, they use primal.
Let's go back.
I'm halfway through Gav.
I'm gonna go Ryan.
Yeah.
I agree with that call. What I don't understand
Go Ryan.
is...
Come back.
I'm
I thought the goal was to go monkey
halfway
goats,
through Gav.
but we keep the Mercy and the Pharah. You need to start... If you're doing comp swaps, it needs to be decisive, because what you're doing is you're swapping a comp that potentially has ultimates that beat theirs. You're not swapping purely because the comp beats theirs. It could be, but if someone calls for a swap, do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you mean keeping barrage, yeah.
Let's go left side.
I didn't quite get your message earlier, but yeah, I get it now. Now we get a comp. Problem now is that it's 60%, we might not necessarily get ultimates in time. Not all of them, at least.
They don't have UC beats as well. Did they use
And by the time we actually do get full sets of ultimates we want to use, they'll probably have as well.
They use bubble, I'm gonna bomb, by the way.
They're probably gonna have trans.
They use rally, yeah.
Yeah, we can bomb aggressively. Monkey.
Break
Speed
the bubble,
back,
break the bubble.
speed back. Back.
Hide them, dead eye.
The bricks is going.
It's fine, they used a couple of ults. I'll go Hammond, try to touch again.
That's
Zen dead.
That was Winston.
Monkas by the monkey, but
I'm going to touch.
I'm gonna have the gods unit to touch.
yeah.
There's three
3,
down.
2, 1, I'm going in.
Go, in.
McCree
But
flash.
why are we also running in?
McCree.
Why do we have 2 people on
Bombing
point?
to the left side
Yeah.
of point.
I will
Hey,
contest.
Defend
defend
no
him,
shift, defend no
look,
shift.
really low.
What needs to happen is that as soon as Guts calls he's going to contest that, he's playing Hammond. He can contest the point solo for... What do you think, Guts? 10, 15 seconds? They were 3 down. Yes, but they won't get back to the point without running into someone on your team, if that's the case. What I mean is that you should at least try to stack someone up. Running 2 people in, especially 2 tanks, that doesn't have initial huge impact. Sari doesn't get a lot of impact before she gets charged.
There's three
3,
down.
2, 1, I'm going in.
Go, in.
McCree flash me. McCree.
If you'd waited maybe slightly more, have Guts solo contest, and then start rolling in towards a single target.
I will
Hey,
contest.
just
defend no
defend him,
shift,
look,
defend no shift.
really low.
I'm on the point. Brig half on
Diva,
point.
Zen right side, I need help.
Brig.
Brick dead.
4 strands.
I'm gonna grab just after. I have grab. Still alive. Grab 3 people in.
Follow grab.
4
That's a huge grab and probably game burning.
Just
I'm
hammer.
on point.
Just.
Hammer down.
Nice.
Yeah.
Reaper coming in.
Yeah. You're awesome.
Nice.
So the only thing I'm trying to comment on when you're trying to stall for overtimes and stuff is that one person calls that he's going to stall, another person gets ready to stall if needed. Otherwise you try to stack up some people so you can try to push in more organized. That's my main point, or like what I was trying to get out. Oh, make clear. Yeah, I think I've made fairly clear. So I'm going, yeah, going to contest this. Yeah, and also for quite a long time as well. That's the main thing, is you can, with Hammond, you should be able to contest for... You could potentially stall solo for roughly 10 seconds, maybe, depending on what they have, but... Say you get a huge value shields off and get 500-600 health extra. 400-500-600 health. You should be able to stall for quite some seconds. So, and that needs to be a call. That's something you can call, Guts, is that you call that you're fine and just tell your team to stack up and regroup. For those that watches Fresh Nuts and whatever those sort of videos channels are on YouTube, there was a clip of Fitzy recently where he called that he's going to stall on Oasis City Center, where he just kept contesting point and tagging, kept solo contesting the point for roughly 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds solo. And all the time while he was doing that, he called for his team to regroup and make one last push. It didn't happen, and you could see his frustration, but that's the idea you need when you're doing overtime. Yeah, I think I've covered the most important bits from my point of view is fix the shot caller, ult tracking, more target focus and calling. Have target calling consistently through the entire fight if needed. What you hear often is that you go into the fight with target calling and somewhere in the middle the target calling stops. Either because there's no one that actually keep following the target and there's no point calling targets, or because the target caller just kind of stops doing it because you're focused on doing something else. That's something that needs to be practiced. I'm gonna do this, and there will be a post in most likely sometimes target caller and shot caller, yeah. I would recommend splitting that. Usually main tank takes target calling and main support takes shot calling. It's mainly because there's two different points of view and you need different opinions and stuff sometimes. Mid-fight, you can also function as a shot caller, but you need someone outside of the fight that's doing the rest of the calls. So if your team, and if there's also people from the last team here, have a couple of people in the Discord, or just one or two, doesn't matter much, but I will post an update somewhere. Who has the best comms right now? On this team. It's difficult to say because there's overall a lack of structure. There's a lot of comms, but it doesn't lead to anything because there's no intention behind any of it. First thing that needs to happen is to have a structure to it. There's plenty of people talking, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't influence anyone or if it doesn't imply any action that leads to something. Also, I don't think I have a Discord overlay, so I can't actually tell who's who. The only one I know who is on this team is Guts. And that's the only voice I can recognize. So yeah, as I said, keep one or two in the Discord. I will post an update in the future about some exercises. I'm looking for a team to do an on-stream exercise for teams to practice certain specific things. I don't know, did you ever do the target calling exercise with me, Guts? I can't remember if we did that one with you. Because if you do, you probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay, so you've been through that one. So I'm going to do it. That is the kind of exercise I'm looking to do. Yeah, it's Harmon Boss, but there's like shit tons of other settings as well that makes it the way it is. So keep an eye on that. I'll post an update once I know when I'll be doing it, and if any team is interested in doing it, poke me. Thank you for the follow, Drift OW and Blesk ACQ. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. Blesk ACQ9, maybe? Thank you for the follow. So yeah, if the team is interested in doing something like that, you know what it is, Guts. You can explain to them if they want. If my explanation is messy, it probably is. I'll post a more detailed explanation in text on the Discord once I have a bit more things planned out in regards to it. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everyone, and good luck. Thanks to all the follows. Liam, if you're still here, thank you for the big host earlier. I've never pronounced that myself. Yeah, you didn't actually make it easy. That's gonna be it for the VOD review, at least. So, if there's anything else, I'll do. That's the Discord link. Here's the direct link to post VODs. The same link also is in the Discord if you're in that one. Yeah. That Discord also there's not much in it right now, it's fairly new. But eventually it will also be for people that are looking to learn how to coach and are interested in that aspect of the game. There will also be a section for that. So that's going to be it for me now, and I wish you all a good evening.